Hi, dear friends and cultural creatives. Bruce here with this month's newsletter. A lot is going on, as you know. You can just read the headlines every day and see the world is in a great state of flux. Well, this is totally expected. We've been talking about an evolutionary change that is coming forth. An evolutionary change that is vital and necessary for our survival for a very simple reason. Science has already revealed that we're deep into the sixth mass extinction of life, and that this mass extinction event is being precipitated by human behavior. So consequently, it says that to change the path that we're on, to move on to another avenue where we can succeed and thrive into the future, it says we really have to change our behavior. Well, in helping that change along, Margaret and I have been on the road, kind of busy as of late. We returned from a wonderful trip to Europe, speaking in Salzburg, Austria, Amsterdam, and in Copenhagen, to audiences that were so open and wonderful and loving and very receptive to the new science that we have to offer. All of these people are beginning to recognize that the evolution in front of us is not a passive event. It's a participatory event. Each one of us must work toward the evolution. It's not an event of evolution where we're going to just sit home in our easy chairs and one day open up the door and say, oh my goodness, the evolution has happened. No, this is an evolution where each of us humans has to engage our behavior in a very positive, supportive, and communal way to create change in the world. Now, this does not mean that you have to go out and you single-handedly change the world. That's actually not the way it works. The way to change the world has actually been understood by an old hippie phrase. The hippie phrase was, before you go out and change the world, take care of your backyard first. And this is really the key. I'm not asking all of us to go out there and to march in the streets and go out there and physically change the world. What we're looking for is to personally change our lives, to start living in harmony with the environment around us. Start supporting the nature of a community. Build yourself into a supportive web of life. I always love to use the concept of dolphins and community in this regard for a very simple reason. When a dolphin is sick and has to be able to come up and breathe the air but cannot move, the other dolphins in the pod will take turns lifting the sick dolphin up to the surface, allowing it to breathe, and then allowing it to come back down in the water. This is so profoundly important because it represents the nature of individuals coming together to create community, not just for their own immediate survival, but for the survival of all those around them. The conclusion of this whole story is very simply this, is that as each of us makes changes in our lives to live in harmony and efficiency with the world around us, then collectively we create the whole change on the planet. So again, I'm not really asking us to go out and every individual make or lead the charge for change. But indeed, there are people who actually do that. One of them is a friend of ours by the name of Patch Adams. I'm sure you probably have heard that name because he's the medical doctor that was featured in the film Patch Adams. As Margaret likes to refer to Patch Adams, she said, Patch is the Mother Teresa of American medicine. And what she means by that is Patch has totally dedicated his life to bringing health care to people who cannot afford it. In fact, what Patch has done is he's gone to the poorest, most needy part of the United States and built a hospital in West Virginia. His intention on doing this was to create a healthcare facility that did not tax the people, but allowed them to get health care without the exorbitant costs of conventional medicine. He creates this wonderful hospital where all the doctors work there as part of a community. In fact, in this community, the doctors and the janitors get exactly the same pay. They do this for helping humanity, not to make a profit. This wonderful hospital in West Virginia is providing health care for many residents in that area, in addition to dental care as well. And all of this is from Patch's heart. He donates all of his money and all of his time to supporting healthcare around the world. Not only is Patch working in West Virginia with those that are in need, but Patch and hundreds of volunteers that follow him around the world have gone to many different countries, Haiti recently, South America, Africa, to go to these places to bring volunteers, bring medical supplies, and bring support and help to the people in those communities. And we just love Patch Adams, and I just want to recognize and honor him because, as I said, he's donated his own personal money that he acquired through years of lectures and workshops that he provides, all of his proceeds go into healthcare. He is indeed a humanitarian of the highest class on this planet. And I am so glad because we have now connected Patch Adams with our dear friends Bharat Mitra and Bhavani, the owners of Organic India, this company which is changing the social welfare and health of millions of people in India. So meeting up with Patch and supporting his work has been a wonderful insight into the nature of how individuals can actually lead us into this new evolution. Patch's example is an example of cooperativity, cooperating with those around the world, not looking out for the individual, number one, but looking out for the nature of the community and the health of the community. The evolution that we're facing, it is necessary for us to change some of the ways we've been living on this planet. And as I talk about in my book, there are what I call the 4 fundamental myth perceptions of the apocalypse, 4 fundamental beliefs that as a population we have created a culture and based our behavior on these beliefs. The one that I want to talk about is the belief that evolution is based on competition. This is the Darwinian belief that is introduced by the notion that life is a struggle for survival, and survival is based on a competition for fitness. This is a cultural belief that has us looking out for number one and ignoring the other people in the world, saying, well, if they lose, that's their problem. They're losers in the Darwinian evolutionary race. But a new understanding is coming about, one that I have been talking about, as I said, for over 15 years, and that is this. Evolution is not predominantly based on competition. Evolution is based on cooperation. And why I bring it up is a very simple point. A garden, such as the Garden of Eden, is not a battleground. A garden, by definition, represents a cooperative interaction of all the animals and plants in the so-called garden. So rather than looking at that garden with Darwinian glasses and perceiving the struggle, the fight, and the violence, we really should look at the garden and recognize that its presence and its activity is really a reflection of a communal cooperativity. Well, as I said, I've been talking about this over all these years, and guess what? It is just this month that I started to see that finally the public is being introduced to the concept that cooperation is a primary drive force in evolution, not competition. And as illustrated on the front cover of this issue of Scientific American, it's cooperativity that is the most important drive to really help us evolve from where we are into a sustainable future. And I am so appreciative of this because after years of telling people and not being supported by the community, science and the media are now trying to change the cultural beliefs of this world by introducing cooperativity as a fundamental drive force of our evolution. I hope that you can understand my joy in saying that, but I hope you can also understand the need why all of us must now really work together, become totally cooperative, because it's the nature of our community that will allow us to go through the crises that we face and come out the other side in a world of beauty, harmony, and love. Thank you for being on this website. I so appreciate your attention.